Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's a watch me work in real time video today, really because I've had very little time this week to devote to model making, so I thought I'd take a week off making my polymer portraits, Halloween themed sculptures, and instead create a couple of little Halloween pumpkins. And this is a Fimo version that I made maybe last year, so I thought it might be quite interesting to make a couple of little pumpkins with the Sculpey lockdown larder that I have. So yeah, we'll see how I get on. And this is Sculpey Soufflé clay. As always, I need to just alert you to the traffic noise going on because you're going to hear loads of it today. It's raining, and as you know by now, I'm basically on quite a busy road, so you'll be hearing lots of background ambient noise, but hopefully it should be sort of quite restful. We'll see as time goes on. So I'm just going to start with my needle tool. Actually, I think what I will do is just pop a little hole in at the top, just so I know where I'm going really, and I'll pop a little hole at the bottom. Oh, a bus has turned up already actually. So I just need to make a series of lines from the top to the bottom, and you'll see I've put the little hole in at the bottom just so I know where to match them all up so it's as neat as possible. One thing that I will say about this clay is that I really like the colour of it, because I usually work with Fimo Professional polymer clay. The colours tend to be sort of quite bright, although I often mix my own colours actually. It's rare that I will use a colour straight out of the pack, but this is like a really nice earthy orange tone, and I believe it's actually called pumpkin, so yeah, it feels very apt to be making a pumpkin out of it. So I've created some really quite deep indentations there. My hands are a little warm today, which isn't ideal really, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time, does it? I know my models always look pretty neat, but I really like seeing gestures on clay work that makes it look handmade really, because you know, that's the charm of it all, isn't it? So I'm not too bothered usually if you know, you can see imperfections, because there's always imperfections in my work, honestly. I think there probably is with most polymer clay artists, but you know, that's part and parcel of the charm really. So I've had some issues with my eyes again this week, so I've not been able to look at the computer for very long at any one time. So as you'll know if you've watched recent videos, I'm moving my Etsy store to a big cartel store, and the process is a lot more slow than I'd like really. It's just that I'm not able to look at screens for very long, which is a bit frustrating. I woke up, was it yesterday or Monday actually? It's Wednesday today, and my eye was just sort of pure red really, so it's frustrating. I think it's just digital eye strain mainly, but I think last year when I was struggling with the condition that I have, basically I'm intolerant to a lot of foods, and I basically had to live on avocados and sweet potatoes for a good while, a few months actually, and Oh, and chicken as well. Yeah. Basically, I had no oil in my diets for about 2 or 3 months. So a big truck going past then. So basically my eyes pretty much dried out, which they've not fully recovered from really. So they really struggle, particularly my right eye, with looking at screens. I just get really dry and inflamed, and I get like a pressure in my ear as well, so it's not very pleasant, but you know, I'm an artist, so I have to keep going. That's what I tell myself. Although, you know, we all have bad days. So that's one little pumpkin done. I haven't done actually too bad a job really, considering my hands are quite warm. If you've not seen any of my watch me work in real time videos, they're a lot more slow paced than my usual videos. I'm a big fan of ASMR videos, and it's basically the nearest I can get to ASMR, really, because of, you know, the background noise. So I just try and make them as relaxing in tone as I can. And I hope you like them too. I would like to do more of them, but I just need to wait to see if my eyes will recover at any points soon. This one's a little bit more difficult because my hands are getting warmer. I'll just actually just wipe my hands with a wet wipe, because it allows your hands to cool down a little if they're getting too warm. So one thing I haven't mentioned on my channel as yet, I just forgot last week to be honest, is I've got a record sleeve design in an exhibition at the moment called Secret 7, and it's on at the moment at the Now Gallery on the Greenwich Peninsula. And if you've not come across Secret 7 before, basically it's a fabulous project where they ask artists to submit 7-inch vinyl record sleeve designs, and they select 700 of them, and they're all obviously one-off unique designs, and they ask renowned musicians to get involved. So they ask 7 artists every year if they can use one of their records. So this year's, I've just got a list here. Selection are Aretha Franklin, Bob Dylan, Foo Fighters, The Internets, Coffee, Miles Davis, and Vampire Weekend. So I won't tell you which one I've worked with, because I like to keep it secret as possible really. That's the whole point of it, of this particular project. So I'll leave the website linked below, because they have got an online gallery as well, so you can have a look through there, and there's some fabulous artwork on there. I've been involved a few times over the last 7 years that they've been going, well 8 years actually, they missed a year, 1 year, but 7 years in total. I think I've done maybe 4 or 5 sleeves, so it's a lovely project. But this year's is their last exhibition, which is a shame, but they were honest from the offing that they wanted just to do 7 years projects. And once the exhibition comes to an end, which I believe is the 1st of November, the sleeves are auctioned off for a charity, and this year's is Choose Love, and they help refugees. So you know, it's a really apt cause, particularly at the moment. So yeah, it's just a lovely project to be involved with, really. Just a shame that it's come to an end this year, but I think they're doing online auctions this year because obviously everybody's social distancing. Usually they have a sale day where people turn up overnight the night before and camp out, and you know, they're really desperate to get hold of their favourites record design sleeves because it's a one-off piece of art, you know. But they're all being eBayed this year basically, so I think the auctions go live this Sunday, so I'll leave that link below so you can go and have a look. Right, that's my 2 pumpkins done now. So I think what I'm going to do is to make one fairly earth tone like, so I can't get my words out really. That's the difficulty of working live. And I'll also do a little gothic version that I'll paint a little later, and you'll probably see it in my thumbnail. So yeah, you can see one of each just to see what they look like. So this is the tricky part. There's a big truck going past again because I need to make some eyes, but you know, it creates a pressure on the back, so there we go. You see, that's why you have to keep going rounds all the time, correcting your work with this particular design. But you know, who doesn't like a challenge? So that's his eyes, and I've got this really cheap tool actually. I've used a few times on my channel, so I'm just going to make some very basic mouths on there. I don't want to get too involved on this video, you know, particularly if you want to work alongside me and create something similar. So that's that one, and I'll do the same with this one. Just create 2 eyes, and maybe I'll give this one a grumpy mouth. Where should I put it? Just put it there. There we go. Yeah, he's definitely quite grumpy looking, so this will be the the gothic one, I think. See what it's done at that. Oh, not too bad. And trucks like that are the reason why I always struggle with narrating my videos. You know, I have to kind of say everything 2 or 3 times and use the best cuts. Really, I'd love to move somewhere really quiet one day and create really, you know, ASMR based videos, but for now I'll just do my best to keep them as relaxing as possible. Okay, so we've got grumpy and happy there, so just pop in some eyes, and this, I believe, I don't think you can see, oh no you can, it's Igloo, and that's Sculpey Soufflé, but you can use any white clay really. Just move that out of the way. Halloween's fast approaching now, isn't it? It's only next Saturday. This year has flown by really, considering all that's gone on. Those are too big, so I'll just take some clay off. Yeah, still too big. It is an interesting clay, Sculpey Soufflé. It does feel different to a female professional, but yeah, it's a nice clay to work with. There we go. I'd I'd be interested to hear actually if you've got a big cartel store as well, how you get on with it. It's always the same setting something up that's new, because I'm struggling with trying to get Pinterest pin things, you know what I mean, the little pin symbols to show up. So I'm trying to research that at the moment, and I'm, you know, not the most tech savvy person around, so these things are always a bit annoying really. Tiny little bit of debris on that eye, so I'm going to use the other side. And there we go, he's certainly quite happy looking, isn't he? Now for Grumpy, I'm just going to pop his mouth a little bit more together there. So. But I like Big Cartel in that it's very sort of easy to use. In itself, you know, the Pinterest thing is a kind of separate issue really, but it's very user friendly. I really like how it's designed actually. Some of the layouts on there, they're all templates, so you know it's nice and easy, but if you know a bit more about website design you can go in and tinker around with those, but you know my knowledge is pretty limited, so I've just picked the design that looks most like my own websites, so it kind of looks part of the website really, if you know what I mean. So you know, you're not jarred when you kind of go onto it thinking, crikey, this is completely different in design. There we go. I've just realised I wanted to put some black behind those eyes, so let's see if they'll come out. Yep, nice and easy. Always a good sign. And this is Sculpey Soufflé again, poppy seed. Because it's a gothic pumpkin, I want to just put some black behind. Just realised I'm kind of babbling on, aren't I? And I wanted this to be a kind of 10-minute video. Really, oh well. There we go, just pop that in there. Let's see if I can get this done in 25 minutes. I'll give myself. It's quite a long video for me, isn't it? I like to do 10 minutes really because I've got, you know, a small channel, so I don't want to be sort of off-putting for people that arrive on my channel and think, crikey, these videos are way too long. Too long. Alright, just need a tiny bit more black on there. There we go. So I'll just use my ball tool again to create, and like eye sockets then really, aren't they, when they're pushed in like that. And I just need a little eyeball now. Too much clay. Again, too much clay, just need to clean my hands. There we go. These aren't perfect, but you know, it doesn't matter too much. as I say, just trying to, you know, be very aware of time, so I don't want you watching just, you know, me doing the same thing over and over just to make it a tiny bit neater. There we go. Oops. So we're just going to give him some pupils now. One. And two. Slightly too big. There we go. And I'll do the same for the earthy one. Gosh, this one's so much happier looking, isn't it? There we go. I'm just going to give them some stalks quickly. So for the Gothic pumpkin, I'll just give it a black stalk because he's going to be painted afterwards as well once he's baked. You can hear the neighbourhood now. There we go, nice and easy. I think he'll look pretty good with some acrylic paint on him. And for Mr. Happy, this colour, actually, forgot to mention, is pesto, and that's Sculpey Soufflé again. There we go. Nice little earthy tones. Could obviously put a brown stalk in if you wanted, but I really like this colour, so there we go. So now I need to bake these two, and if I remember correctly, and I don't, because I use Fimo all the time, well, pretty much all the time, baking should be completed by an adult. Well, yeah, that's good to know. And this will be baked at 130 centigrade for around 30 minutes. Maybe a little more because they're quite big sculptures, I think, for souffle. So yeah, I'll see you on the other side with them completed.